This 21-year-old social media influencer was stalked and killed by her friend that was obsessed with her. Catalina Gutierrez was born and raised in Córdoba, Argentina. She was obviously very beautiful, but she was so much more than that. She was sweet, kind, a friend, a little sister, a daughter. She loved music, but above all else, she loved her family. And going into her teen years, Catalina was becoming a star. She was beautiful, talented at music, she would travel, she had this fun lifestyle, and out of nowhere, Catalina started gaining hundreds of thousands of followers across all her social media platforms. And this was super fun and exciting for Catalina. She was becoming like a proper little influencer. She was getting PR, she was getting brand deals. She was also going into her first year of college, so this was a really exciting time in this young girl's life. And going into that first year of college, Catalina became really good friends with one of her classmates, this guy, Néstor. When Catalina and Néstor met, they became very quick, close friends. Catalina was still with her high school boyfriend, so this friendship with Néstor was very platonic on her side. Néstor didn't really have a lot of friends, so Catalina introduced him to all of her friends. She introduced him to her boyfriend, invited him to all of the hangouts. She introduced him to her family, and Néstor actually got really close with Catalina's family. He would go over for family dinners, family game nights, he would even dog sit their dogs. And the entire time, Néstor is secretly obsessed with Catalina. He was obsessively stalking her social media. He was obsessed with everything she posts and the fact that she had all of these followers. Catalina never led him on, but Néstor was convinced that one day Catalina would wake up and realize that they were meant to be together. There was something really dark going on in Néstor's mind. His entire life, girls thought that he was a creep. And they were right. Catalina was not the first girl that Néstor developed a dark obsession with. Before college, he was stalking, harassing, and threatening countless amount of girls. And this was reported to his high school dozens of times, but nothing ever happened. During a school overnight camping trip, Néstor snuck into one of the girls that he was obsessed with's tents, got on top of her, and attempted to SA her. Luckily, she screamed, and this scared him, and he left. And before he met Catalina at college, there were other girls that Néstor was stalking at their college. He actually memorized all of these girls' class schedules, and even had these girls' class schedules written on his bedroom wall. At this point, Catalina is out of her high school relationship, but she started a new relationship with a new boy, and this made Néstor furious. He thought that Catalina belonged with him. He thought Catalina belonged to him. Something in him switches this time. Usually when the girls that he was obsessed with turned him down repeatedly, he would just move on and find a new girl to be obsessed with, but not with Catalina. Without her knowing, he gets her phone's location, and now he's fully stalking her in real life. He's harassing her online. He's being rude to her all of the time and trying to cause problems between her and her new boyfriend. Overall, he's just being terrible to her for months. And anytime Catalina would try to stand up for herself, he would just emotionally manipulate her. On July 17, 2024, Catalina had plans with her friends to go bowling, and she invites Néstor along. And Néstor asks her if it's good if they meet up alone a little bit before, so they could have a little bit of like one-on-one best friend time. They planned to meet up at 9 p.m., an hour before the plans to go bowling. But when Catalina was only a few minutes late, Néstor starts blowing up her phone. He's sending her all these nasty texts. He's furious. Catalina calls her friend Néstor up and she apologizes for being a little bit late. She says that she's running a little bit behind because she had a last-minute deadline for a brand deal that she had to post, which is like totally reasonable. That's her job. But Néstor absolutely freaks out on the phone with Catalina, tells her to not bother coming, that she's a bad friend, that she ruined his night. He's insulting her and her new boyfriend and says that she's a terrible person that doesn't care about anyone but herself. And this is not true. Catalina does care a lot about other people. She feels terrible that she's upset her friend. So instead of going bowling with her friends, she drives over to Néstor's house so she can apologize. But Néstor, for whatever reason, just snaps, and he starts hitting Catalina over and over. He starts punching Catalina in the face until it knocks her unconscious. He ties her up, and once she starts to gain consciousness, Néstor gets on top of Catalina, and while looking her in her eyes, He strangles her to death. She was only 21 years old. Right away, Néstor tries to cover up what he just did to Catalina. He puts her body in the back of her own car and then drives Catalina's car into the middle of nowhere. And he attempts to light her car on fire to destroy her body and any evidence before leaving. But the car did not burn at all. Néstor lit the inside of the car on fire, and then when he left, he closed all of the doors, which put out the fire. Like, you know when you have a candle and then you put the lid on the candle, so then the candle goes out. Was not long for Catalina's friends, boyfriend, and family to all realize that she's missing, and they are terrified. Her family and boyfriend are down at the police station to report her missing, and Néstor has the balls to show up at the station to comfort Catalina's family, knowing that he was the one that killed her. And the police were able to quickly track down Catalina's phone location, where they found her car in the middle of nowhere with her body in the car. Her poor family. Catalina was so young and so loved by everyone, and everyone was absolutely devastated and confused. Who would want to kill this poor girl? Everyone in Catalina's life had an alibi except for her friend Néstor. And he changed his story about what he was doing the day that Catalina went missing and was killed about like half a dozen times. And I always say, it's a huge red flag when people change their story. They were able to track Néstor's phone location the day that Catalina was killed, and it turns out his phone was in the exact same location that they found her car and body, and this was like the middle of nowhere. When confronted, Néstor cracked and he confessed. His trial began in March of 2025, and because he was a creep his entire life, there was no shortage of girls to testify against him. Néstor never apologized to Catalina's family. He never showed any remorse. In fact, during the trial, he laughed at her family. He laughed at Catalina's family's pain. And this is the same young man that they invited into their home. It's just disgusting. Catalina only ever wanted to be a good friend to Néstor. She invited him along to things when he had no one to hang out with. The only reason she went over to his house that day was to apologize. Even after, he was a terrible, terrible friend to her. For the past 5 months, Néstor was sentenced to life in prison, and he will have a chance for early release after serving 35 years. And like always, if you watched the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to Catalina's story. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments, but while you're there, please remember to be respectful because you don't know who will be in the comments. And while you're there, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. Thank you to every single person that suggested that I covered this case, and I will see you guys all next time in my next video. Please be a good person to your fellow person.